Welcome to Dig Deep, the mining podcast. In this podcast, we go deep into mining news, hot topics, and live interviews with mining professionals and leading figures in the mining industry. Introducing your host, Rob Tyson, founder and director of Mining International and Mining International Executive, a leading global mining recruitment and headhunting agency.
Hi, mining community. Welcome back to another episode of the Dig Deep, the mining podcast. And today's guest is Stefan Bernstein, who's the CEO of GreenRoc, who are a junior miner with a portfolio comprised of graphite, ilmenite, and iron ore deposits in Greenland. Their focus is on developing these mines for production of critical minerals that is obviously considered vital for the economic well-being of the world's major emerging economies. Stefan is a Danish geologist with over 30 years experience in Greenland's mining sector. So he brings a very strong knowledge base and understanding of the country and its mineral wealth with his experience spanning both in corporate and governmental advisory roles. He's here today to tell us more about GreenRoc and also mining in Greenland as a mining destination. So that's welcome Stefan to the podcast. How you doing, Stefan?
Thank you, Rob. I'm doing really well, thanks. Thanks for the introduction.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate your time as well coming onto the podcast. So as we always start these off, I just wondered if you can give the audience a little bit about a background about yourself. Obviously, I mentioned that you have over 30 years experience and predominantly obviously working in Greenland. So I just wondered if you could just expand on your career today.
Yes. So my first experience really was when I was doing a master's program in Eastern Greenland, and which was part of a university study. But I was hired by a junior exploration company to help them out. Which that project later led to the discovery of the world-class Skærgård deposit, which is a PGE gold deposit in Eastern Greenland, and it really sparked my interest for mineral exploration. So I've been kind of doing a little bit of quite a significant amount of research, but also at the same time been doing exploration ever since, both in the roles of senior researcher at the Geological Survey of Denmark and Greenland, later on also as a head of department there. But certainly I've been engaged also with exploration through, for instance, my role as a VP exploration for Avanar Resources, active in Greenland for 9 years from, 2007 to 2015, 16, thereabout. And so I joined GreenRoc this summer in July, and it was a really good move for me. I really longed to get back into real exploration, and this is the chance I think I would have to, in my career, to actually get a mine going in Greenland, which has been a long time wish for me.
Okay. So just wondered if you can give us an overview of GreenRoc as a company and its journey as well.
Yeah, so GreenRoc has been working in Greenland for some years now, developing, or rather on exploration stages for a number of projects. And they are concerned about North Greenland in terms of ilmenite, which is a titanium mineral, where we have a resource defined. And then also iron ore deposit, also in northern Greenland. But the most exciting project I think we have now, also the most valuable project, is Amitok graphite deposit that slowly has developed from, also you can call it kind of exploration stage, but it quite rapidly expanded this past 1 or 2 years here now. So we're moving into certainly the development phase after only 2 years of drilling. So it's a really exciting time for GreenRoc because we're getting on from the early exploration, junior exploration stage to being a proper development company.
You've recently released some news about GreenRoc with your resource update at your Emitsoc project. Can you give us some background on the project and what GreenRoc has done since acquiring it?
Yes. So GreenRoc took an interest in the graphite deposit in southern Greenland. It's the Emitsoc deposit, which has been a producing mine 100 years back, a small mine, but a producing mine. And stories were that it was like exhausted, and the graphite wasn't that great quality and so forth. But we still took a look at it, and from the first stages of the exploration program there, it was realized that the quality was actually quite high, and also from the information that we could gather in the field, it looked like it really had some size potential also that perhaps was overlooked. So it led to some test work on the graphite ore a few years back, showing that indeed it was high quality graphite, also quite high grade, reaching about 20% graphite, which is really, really high. And then we started a drilling program in 2021 that was quite successful, because all of the holes that we drilled hit significant thicknesses of high-grade graphite ore. So we were able to announce a maiden resource back in March last year of about 8 million tons at 19.75% graphite. So that was, of course, really exciting for us. So we decided to carry on with a second stage drilling program this past summer. We received the drill results in September, and with this expanded drilling program, we actually hit very significant thicknesses, up to 20 meters true thickness of these graphite ore bodies, and also the extents were. The footprint of the deposit was extended quite significantly. So with the assays coming back in December and the new resource update that we just released today, we more than tripled the amount of ore that we have. So we now have a inferred, indicated, and measured resource at Emitsoc of more than 23 million tons at more than 20% graphite. In fact, it's 20.41% graphite. Well, that sums up to more than 4 million tons of contained graphite. So it's a really significant resource increase.
Yeah, and obviously the results confirm nearly 3 times increase in the mineral resource estimate. Can you give a little bit more context on the importance of the size and the grade, and what impact it does have for GreenRoc?
Right. I mean, the 20% graphite is really amongst the highest in the world in projects under development today. Most producing mines are down at less than 10%. In fact, several are running at 5, 6, 7% contained graphite. And so having more than 20% is, of course, enormously advantageous from the point of view of decreasing the cost of production. But also the amount of ore that is available here suggests that we could have a quite high production of graphite over, sustaining production over several years, making it extending the lifetime of the mine. And also I should say that the deposit here is open in several directions, so there's certainly room for expansion. And we recently just increased the license holding in southern Greenland, so it encompasses several adjacent grounds with other deposits or graphite showings, which has similarly high degree of graphite, between 20 and 30% graphite. So we're really looking at a graphite district we're developing here in Greenland. And the great thing is that, we are situated midway between Northern Europe and North America, which means that we can supply both markets with high quality graphite. One last thing I would say is also that the graphite deposit at Amitok is situated right next to the coast, actually at the coast. It's ice-free waters year-round, so because it's southern tip of Greenland. It really is the latitude of, northern Scotland or southern Norway. So it's quite mild climate for Greenland. So it bodes for easy mining, easy extraction, and also easy processing.
In your own words, there's a critical demand for new, high-grade and conflict-free graphite sources. Looking at obviously graphite, what are your expectations for the resource moving forward in terms of demand and pricing?
Yeah, well, I mean, we really need graphite today. Graphite has a lot of applications. There's all the standard ones concerning like steel production and a variety of new tech composite materials and so forth. But the fastest growing demand is going to come from the EV batteries. And EV batteries really contain more than 20% graphite. So instead of calling them lithium batteries, they should really be called graphite batteries. But so sorry, I lost the question there.
Yeah, so you mentioned obviously a critical demand for new and high grade and conflict-free graphite resources.
Yes, and so today all of the graphite that is in the EV batteries, that is produced in Brazil, Africa, or China. Most of it actually is produced in China, and all of it, 100%, is processed in China to the form of graphite called spherical graphite, where it's shaped and purified into very, very small, minute spheres of graphite. And the only place that takes place presently is in China. And the production of these of the graphite is not always done in the best way, both concerning the social impacts and also certainly for the environment. So here we offer to produce graphite for the future EV battery production in Europe, and also for that matter in North America, at a place where we'll do responsible mining. It's in a place where we'll take care of the environment. We'll take care of course, it's going to be about the local communities. So it's being hopefully contributing to the development of the communities in southern Greenland.
The company expects to play a significant role in the European and obviously global battery mineral supply chain, and obviously the clean energy transition. How important is the growing market for GreenRoc?
Well, it's very important, of course. And I think equally, GreenRoc and Amitok is important for the battery industry. They just perhaps haven't realized so much that before. But the battery industry is now really concerned about lithium, which is like the one thing that they are most concerned about. But it actually turns out that graphite is to be, well, first of all, it's equally important for the manufacturing of the battery, but the supply chain is also, they are also challenged because, as I said, China is sitting on all of the production. China is going to have their own EV battery production ramping up 5 times over the coming years. So even though that we are now today talking about establishing battery factories in Europe, the so-called gigafactories, more than 20 are under construction, or actually a few are already in production. There's going to be a huge need for graphite. And although today there is supply of graphite coming out of China, this spherical graphite I mentioned, it's very likely that in a few years to come, when the European battery manufacturers call up China and ask for the spherical graphite, they won't be able to get any, just because the Chinese are gonna have their own demands, and they will have equally difficulties meeting those demands from their own production. So it's important for us, but it's equally important for the battery manufacturers in North America and in Europe to have a domestically sourced graphite nearby to secure the supply chains.
Obviously, you're very experienced within Greenland. Obviously, over 30 years' experience in the country. I just wondered if you can give us an overview of what Greenland's like as a mining jurisdiction.
Yes, I would say that Greenland is a very interesting country for mining. It's a very pro-mining community. People regard the minerals industry as a potential job-creating industry, of course, but certainly also it serves to provide other means of income to the country. Presently, most of the income to the country is based on fishery, and some on tourism. So to diversify the economy, they see the minerals industry to be important. And you can see that in the past, handful of years, there's been several exploitation licenses given to mineral companies. So we definitely see that there's a strong support to the minerals industry, both from the government, but certainly also, and perhaps even more important, from the local communities.
What would you say some of the major challenges are for the industry in Greenland moving forward? And I suppose these are some things that because you've obviously been in the country for a period of time, and you must have seen challenges that the country have overcome. What would you say that the future challenges could be, and how do you see the future of Greenland as a mining jurisdiction?
Well, I think the main challenge really is the perception that people have, both in the industry, but certainly also amongst investors, that Greenland is like kind of an ice cube, and difficult access. It's expensive to work there. There's even some perception that I mean quite often that there's a lot of local opposition against the minerals industry and the exploration, and it's quite the adverse, really. People are very much in favor. I would also say that Greenland geographically is perfectly situated midway, as I said, between Europe and North America. Only 5 shipping days to either place, and compare that to, for instance, 30-something days from Africa to Greenland, and 40-something days, from Africa to Europe. And then one aspect that is often overlooked is that, yes, it is part of it is an Arctic climate. Southern Greenland is subarctic, but it's all the ice-free parts of Greenland are transected by deep water fjords. Lots of them are ice-free year-round. So as opposed to, for instance, landlocked places in Canada, you can sail big ships right up next to the whatever deposit you're developing. And then an example of this could be the Black Angel mine that was very successfully run by Cominco back in the 70s and 80s, a lead zinc mine in northwest Greenland, which was very profitable, and there is very little, if any, local opposition against the mining there, and people still talk about that mine in very positive terms.
Can you just tell us a little bit more about some of your active work programs that are being executed, and notably any developments you expect?
Yeah, for the Amitok, it's really exciting times now because I mean we got this enormous increase in resource. It's almost like yeah we can drill more and get even bigger, but now the big thing for us is to get into production, and to that end, we are now engaged in an environmental impact assessment and also a social impact assessment that will be carried out this year. That will lead into an exploitation permit planned for next year. At least the application is, and we expect also to get the permit rather quickly. Alongside with that, we are conducting a scoping study or a preliminary economic assessment this year. We are taking a bulk sample, a larger bulk sample. Presently, we are processing a 700 kilogram bulk sample we took out last fall, and with a bigger bulk sample this year, we'll learn a lot about the processing details, but certainly also provide graphite concentrate that will do some tests on producing spheronized graphite for the batteries. So the next 1 or 2 years are really both exciting and busy for us because one thing is that we're going to work closer towards production. And meanwhile, we're also going to develop the business towards supplying the battery industry with spheronized graphite.
And lastly, obviously concluding, what is the outlook for the sort of next 12 to 18 months? And is there sort of any potential for further expansion of the resource that you've mentioned today? And also, is there anything else you'd like to give our audience?
Yes, so we'll be very much focused in getting this off the ground. Obviously, the demand is just around the corner. The graphite needs for the European battery production is set to increase by 4 times between 2022 and 2025, and nearly 10 times by 2030. So we'll be there when the demand rises and be ready to supply those growing markets. And so within this short time period that is ahead of us now, we are intending to also start negotiating with off-takers, of course, and also with potential joint venture partners, both within the manufacturing industry, that is the spheronization industry, and also within the battery or the car manufacturing industry. So that will get the financial background also to get into production fast, because obviously we need capital to move ahead. So 2023, 24 will be relatively small demands of capital, but of course once we get into construction, 26, 25 and 26, those are going to ramp up.
Okay, Stefan, really appreciate your time. Give us an overview of obviously GreenRoc, telling us a little bit about Greenland as a mining jurisdiction, and I imagine there's so much potential there and obviously you've highlighted some of the challenges Greenland does face as a mining jurisdiction. So hopefully, obviously, people that are listening to this can obviously understand better and not obviously necessarily think about them as certain perceptions that they've come across in the past. So hopefully people can open up their minds and have an open mind about looking at Greenland as a mining jurisdiction. If our audience wants to reach out to you, if they've got any questions or want to know more about GreenRoc, how can they go about doing that? What social media platforms are you on and the company?
Well, I'm mostly engaged on LinkedIn, so people are more than welcome to contact me through LinkedIn. Yes, so I think there's also a couple of there's a mail link on our website too.
Okay, and we include those in the website in the show notes, so people can have easy access to that. So, like I said, really appreciate your time. Thank you for joining me. Those that are listening, hope you enjoyed that episode. Obviously, Greenland is a I suppose untapped jurisdiction compared to many other countries out there. So I appreciate if you can pass this podcast and share this podcast to others around the world, to obviously promote Greenland as a mining jurisdiction, so people can obviously understand a little bit about the country and what potential opportunities it could present, if someone is looking for some projects. So thank you for listening, and until next time, happy mining.
Thank you for listening. Remember to reach out to Rob via the show notes, and be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Until next time, happy mining, helping each other to improve the mining industry.